Weebs, and welcome to Behind the Weebs, a look behind the scenes of SunnyCon Anime Expo, an anime convention in the United Kingdom. And we live in some extraordinary times, don't we? Since my last video about 4 days ago, there's been a lot happened, a lot has escalated, a lot has moved on with regards to things around our planning and event. So I thought I'd come here, and share what information I have for you. First off, it's that the UK government came out around about a few hours after I actually released my last video, and they had their strategy, which isn't a whole lockdown, which is something I suggested on my previous video, but it is what they're calling herd immunity, which it never instills people with the confidence when your leader comes out and says some of your loved ones will die. It is the Lord Farquaad. Some of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to take kind of approach, and it didn't really fill me as an event organizer with confidence. It didn't fill anybody with confidence. It was just a bit cringeworthy, really. So from that press conference that they had, they brought out their little graph, and I've got a copy of the graph here. The green line is what they're doing with the herd immunity, and their process of this is to drag out the pandemic a little bit longer, in that way that the majority of cases doesn't overwhelm the NHS, it doesn't overwhelm the general public as such, and they'll basically, at some point in the next month or two, they'll put out orders to stop schools, to stop mass gatherings, to stop any kind of social interaction, just to slow it down, not to stop it completely, but just to slow the spread down. And that's their strategy, and that's a strategy that we have to go off and abide by. Now, for this strategy, we were kind of like a bit tetchy, because if the pandemic was just allowed to roam free, then the peak of this would have been around about mid-April, with a mass decline. However, the amount of lives lost would have been unfathomable, really. And the government strategy, like they say, is to delay this, which is to draw it out, which means the peak has then moved around to mid-May all the way through to start of June, which leaves us, and I'll pull up the graph, and as you can see, there's two lines here, and SunnyCon falls in between these two lines. Now, this is all based on variables, and they don't know how fast the spread will go or how long it will stay for. But like I said before, we are over 100 days away from SunnyCon. There are still a number of weeks where we can actually, see this thing progress and then decline. But we fall on the declining, on the slope of it, so to speak. So for SunnyCon, there will be a kind of a heightened procedure for hygiene. There will be a heightened procedure for things such as social distancing and other things like that. And we are confident now, because once the peak's over, that's basically we're out of the woods, and we can start integrating normal life into things. And that's where events like ours would fall on, and we would be able to progress forward. Now, our hope is that we would fall on the lowest part of that slope, as obviously it means less risk for everyone. However, we are now planning for the eventuality if we were to fall on a higher point in the slope of it. But like I say, we're still on that downward. So mass gatherings will be allowed again, because the majority of people, or the population, will have actually gone through it and have the immunity, which is the plan. Not for us to question the plan, just for us to go along and work along with it and be flexible enough to move. Now, this has caused a few issues going into our event, because there are a lot of events that are happening now, or were due to happen now or next month. I mean, we've had personal events that we've wanted to go and attend, and concerts, and they've been cancelled. And we understand, we understand that right now in the upward slope of the curve, that it's impossible to hold, and things will be rescheduled. One issue for us is that other events will start looking at our dates and saying that they are safe, and they will reschedule to clash with us. Obviously, we don't think it's going to be a malicious clash. We have one event, MCM Birmingham, which has decided to take the same dates as us. So we have to work around that. There's nothing we can really do about it. We're just sorry for the artists and traders who then have to make that decision. If they had booked us and they had booked their, same for attendees, you know, a decision has to be made, and we understand, and we can't turn around to Birmingham MCM and, you know, complain at them about it, because that's what capitalism is. You know, we have no control over our rival companies or events, and we just have to get on with it and make our event the best one to attend that weekend. And that's our attitude going forward with it. And like we always say, that there's only one SunnyCon a year now. I mean, obviously last year there was two, but there's only one SunnyCon that you can go to. Like many other different types of events during the year, some events have like 4 or 5, but every year there'll only be like one big SunnyCon in Newcastle. Obviously, as well, with the event cancellation and moving, that the clashes have happened for attendees and artists and traders, we will see a few trader tables, artist tables cancelled, but we have a huge waiting list ready waiting to take that. So we don't expect to be affected in such a great way. Obviously, we have to contend with it with a much larger event and a much larger company, but we'll get to that. We'll work around it. We'll try and make our event much more better and much more appealing for people to attend. And hopefully, come summer, that we'll have higher attendance than we did last year, even despite all this mess. The biggest obstacle so far has become not the coronavirus as such, but the actions of other companies around it. And I'm going to talk now about our ticket provider, Eventbrite. And we had an agreement with Eventbrite, and we've used them since 2016. And before that, the company that we used to use was bought up by Eventbrite. So you could say ever since we've had e-tickets, we've always had like Eventbrite there. And we've been happy with the system. The system's worked great. People can go buy and we get paid. But we are what's known as the premium tier customer, which is like the top tier customer. We have our own account manager and everything. And a few days ago, we received an email, and this email like shook us to our core. Like, it was one of the worst bits of news that we could get, and it was that Eventbrite was stopping our payments. Now, for those who don't know how the ticketing system works, it is you pay for your ticket, it goes to Eventbrite, and they tot up that amount, including their fees. They obviously take off their fees, and the ticket value then gets released to us, to our bank account, so we can pay bills, we can pay venue, hire, everything like that. And our own personal finances are mixed in with our because it goes towards our rent and utilities, etc. So we are dependent. This is without this money every week, we've got nothing. We have to survive on child and working tax credits, and that's if you've got working tax and child tax credits, that is not enough to survive on, especially with 2 kids. So. And we've got things like loans that we have to pay off, like external bills. So there's a lot riding on this money. And Eventbrite sent us an email saying, well, they sent everybody. This is not just us individually. This is every event that's running on Eventbrite, saying that due to the coronavirus, they are stopping all advanced payments, no exceptions. Every event, if you have advanced payments, that's it. The money will still be there. However, you get it 5 days after the end of your event, which for us would be July, which means we were cut off. We technically don't have any money until the end of July. Now, this infuriated me, no end, absolutely no end. And it was for a few reasons, because one, on our agreement from back when we first signed up, the agreement has always been that we get advance payouts because we can't pay off the venue, we can't pay guest flights, we can't pay for hotels, t-shirts, tote bags, pin badges, wristbands, advertising, the website. All of them costs are encompassed in these advance payouts. Not to forget, like, we have outstanding loan payments to repay back as well on top of that, and any other money that we have, like, here, there, and add on top of that, rent and utilities, food bills. So our whole life depends on these advanced payments. And for it to be taken away, we had no warning at all. Absolutely no warning. This was just an email plopped in, 8 o'clock in the morning. Look at it and it's like, yeah, well, you're not getting your money anymore. So that was crushing. That was like, I've never been as angry as I have been then. Like, it's basically, they've took our livelihood away, swept it away, and we're now stuck in a situation where we've got tickets that are selling, our event's still going ahead, everything's going in our favour so far. We are still planning to go ahead and run our event, You know, we've taken all the government's advice and everything, every single little bit and bob that we have to like look after and take care of and risk assess. We have followed that to the T. And if these advance payments will keep coming, we will be fine. But no, Eventbrite has shored up. They have decided that screw us events who have advance payouts. Like I say, it's not just us. There's hundreds and thousands of events across America. They're going on the whole thing of everyone will be demanding refunds, everybody will be cancelling events in the next 2 to 3 months, so they need as much money as possible. And rather than pay us the money that is ours anyway, they've decided to keep it for themselves in case their liability gets screwed over. In case some events can't refund and then it's down to Eventbrite to refund. And the thing is with SunnyCon, we don't have refunds on tickets. It's always been the way. There's no refunds on tickets because if we go bust, we go bust. That's it. You know, it's not just the business. It's me as an individual, our family. Our lives is ruined if we go bust. And we've worked our backsides off for the last 10 years to keep this event going. And the things that we've had to do to keep this event going, it's frustrating that 10 years of work could all just like go away because one big ticketing company decides, oh, we're going to be greedy. That left us high and dry. And over the weekend, we've had to sit down and we've had to figure out a way of how we can get our money and still keep the event like going and keep tickets going out. And we came up with a few solutions. One of the annoying things was that the phone lines, because like I say, we are a premium customer, so we're supposed to have 24/7 hotline access. My event manager, our event account manager, or whatever they call themselves, was uncontactable. We went through the helpline, which they just shut down. And so we couldn't get in contact with them for about 48 hours before I got in contact with somebody. And it was an American call centre that I managed to get in contact with. And their line was, well, it's for everybody. It's going to be a temporary measure. We don't know how long a temporary measure is because the company can just stop it and start it whenever they feel like. And rather than like look at an individual case-by-case basis where they can say like, oh, well, this event has the surplus. They've just stopped everyone's. So there's a lot of events out there now which don't have any cash flow and will probably have to cancel because of Eventbrite. Ironically, not the coronavirus, Eventbrite. There's events that are happening in August, September, October that they have stopped completely. We've been left high and dry there, and it's took us the whole weekend to figure this out because initially when the email hit us on like the Friday, I'd already just put the video out saying, you know, we're pretty much sure to go ahead. And like no income means no event because we can't then pay the venue, we can't pay anything. But over the weekend, we've had a good look into it. There were different options that we were going to explore, such as adding tickets to our website where you pay via like a PayPal button, but that would mean you order on PayPal and then we'd have to send you a ticket via Eventbrite, which means a lot of manual tickets, like which would mean sending a lot more tickets out manually, up to about 2,000 to 3,000 over time, and that's not practical for us, especially when we get closer to the event. So we were looking into it and we found out that Eventbrite has their own payment system. And now the payment processing that we currently use is the Eventbrite's own, which means you pay your ticket money, they charge their fee, that money goes to Eventbrite, they then take their fee out of it, send us the ticket value, and we get that every week. And obviously we're not going to get that now because the ticket money just goes to them and it'll stay in their account and cover any of their losses that they may make from events cancelling now. So we looked into it and we found out that there is a PayPal option. So we had to make a new event where we have this PayPal option. And what the PayPal option does is it takes Eventbrite's fee and there's an extra fee for the PayPal payment processing, but we still get it sent our PayPal account. Now with this, it's a little bit more of a farce on because with the Eventbrite processing, it was just ticket price, Eventbrite fee, merge into one, and that's it. However, when you use PayPal, the Eventbrite fee is smaller than it would be using the Eventbrite processing, and then you've got to add the PayPal fee on top of that. So in our new prices, that's why our tickets might look like they've gone up by £1-2 each, but that's not the case because we've took into the fact the fee that has to be added on anyway. So it all adds up, and overall, for a weekend ticket, you're paying about 59 pence more, and for a day ticket, you're paying around about 50 pence more on top of your ticket price that you would be paying anyway. So we have to now juggle that about. It's going to be a little bit inconvenient for us because we're now going to have ticket scanner for the original event and ticket scanner for the PayPal type event, but it means that we now get the money directly to us rather than going into Eventbrite's like bank account and like padding them out. So we can actually, you know, live. It's frustrating for us to have to do that because the irony that it's not the coronavirus that could have hurt us greatly, but the ticket provider that's supposed to be there. And they do this whole thing of like we're an event company for we're like a family. And it's like, yeah, well, you just ditched your like cousin and decided to let them die in a ditch. So yeah, cheers Eventbrite, and next year I believe we may be moving to another ticket provider, you know, or one that actually, you know, helps events rather than hinders them. The frustration with running an event in times like these, you never know what's going to happen, and from the most unknown sources can a bit strife come forth. But we've managed it. We have moved on with it. All of our links are now updated to the new ticket event page. Like I say, all your tickets will still be valid if you've bought beforehand. They are still valid. You can still come to the event. You're still entered in to Donna's little Kirby and Nintendo Switch bundle draw, which is still ongoing up until the weekend. We will be doing a live stream this Saturday where everybody's name gets put into the Halloween cauldron, which we have left over, and you've got a chance to win a Nintendo Switch, a Kirby, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX, and a Pikachu standee from Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX, and also a special sticker sheet from Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX. But if you can go over, like, watch Donna's video on that for more details if you're interested in it. But all we can say is thank you for your support, thank you for your understanding, and you know, thanks for everything, because this is a really tough time. Like I say, there's artists, there's traders out there who rely on events, and us as events, we rely on you. And you know, please keep buying your SunnyCon tickets. This hopefully will all blow over. We'll get through the other end of it and enjoy the summer. That'll be packed with fun, and you know, thank you once again. We've had lots of messages of support, lots of messages of encouragement, and we hope to see you all in June, at the end of June. I've been Tucky. Thank you once again for watching. Hopefully I won't need to do these in too close a succession because things change. Hopefully we now know where we are and we can just go forward with it, and we can start looking at other things that's not virus related. But thank you very much for watching. Hope you stay healthy, stay well, and look after yourselves. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.